station covering all of the DMV. This is DC News Now.
Coming up on DC News Now at noon, safety on the metro system is becoming a debate in the community after two separate shootings broke out near Metro Rail platforms this week. We hear from the community. And later, after nearly 10 months, Brittney Griner has landed in the United States. Good afternoon, and thank you for joining us for the news at noon. I'm Shanika Grimshaw in for Mark Hall. Meteorologist Damon Matson joins us with the latest check on the forecast. Hey, Damon, just like old times.
Oh, yeah, just like old times, Shanika. And I bet you're excited that sunshine is back out there. And
I need it.
Hey, we all need it at this point, I would say that. So a lot of happy folks, I would assume, seeing that sunshine here today. It's a sight for sore eyes, and why not? Take a look at that. That is just beautiful. Pure blue skies right now, not just over Hagerstown, but across the entire four-state region and DMV here as we go into the early afternoon now. And really, as we continue throughout much of the day, that much is not going to change. Again, the satellite picture shows that while we did have a little bit of cloud cover early on, back down across parts of southwestern Virginia here and into the mountains, that even has dissipated for the most part, and that's why we continue to enjoy all of this sunshine. We've carved out just a nice little swath here to be able to soak that up as long as we possibly can, but our active weather pattern is still continuing for us here as there are still some clouds to the south, and then the next disturbance, storm system, is back across the Great Lakes into the Midwest there, and that is going to be approaching our neck of the woods as we head later on into the night tonight and then by the start of the weekend. But like I just mentioned, again, that's going to come down the line here. Look at how it's going to be this afternoon. Take advantage of this here. Soak up that sunshine. Now, the only downfall is that because of a northerly wind, we are going to have some chillier temperatures. Even despite the sunshine, we probably are not going to get out of the 40s as we move through this afternoon. So yes, you may have to bundle up just a little bit, and that'll be a common theme as we go into the weekend as well, with those highs not budging all that much. But yeah, check it out. This is the reason we have to enjoy the sunshine while it's here. Clouds are going to be back in the picture, and they're going to stick around throughout much of the weekend. And notice how we have some very minor precipitation chances. Now, when exactly are you likely to need that rain gear, and could there be some wintry precipitation mixing in a few spots? We'll let you know coming up here in just a bit.
All right, thank you, Damon. It's been a long 10 months for Brittney Griner, her family, her basketball team, and the negotiators trying to get her home. Earlier today, she touched down in San Antonio, Texas, where she'll be taken to an Army hospital. Our sister station's Marvin Scott is bringing you up to speed on how the prisoner swap unfolded.
She's safe. She's on a plane. She's on her way home.
Fresh out of a Russian prison, Brittney Griner managed to smile as she settled into a seat on a private jet in Abu Dhabi, where the prisoner exchange took place.
Brittney's in good spirits. She's relieved to finally be heading home. And the fact remains that she's lost months of her life, experienced a needless trauma.
It's been an arduous journey for Griner, who was arrested in Moscow almost a year ago, held on drug charges after vape canisters with cannabis oil was found in her luggage. She pleaded guilty, apologized, but still was sentenced to 9 years in a Russian penal colony. Griner's wife, who joined in a teleconference call with President Biden, was jubilant and said she never gave up hope that this day would come.
And today is just a happy day for me and my family, so I'm going to smile right now. Thank you.
In exchange for Griner, the U.S. released Victor Bout, described as one of the world's most notorious arms dealers. He was serving a 25-year sentence on charges of selling millions of dollars in weapons that U.S. officials said were to be used against Americans. The release of Griner was bittersweet. Another American, Paul Whelan, who has been held for 4 years on allegations that he was a spy, was not part of the prisoner swap.
This was not a choice of which American to bring home. The choice was one or none.
Sadly, for totally illegitimate reasons, Russia is treating Paul's case differently than Brittney's. And while we have not yet succeeded in securing Paul's release, we are not giving up.
It's obviously very disappointing for us, but it's a great day for Brittany Griner.
Whalen's brother told News Nation the White House informed the family in advance that Paul would not be part of the prisoner swap. The difference here, he believes, is that Paul is being held as a spy.
In the past, when there have been spy cases, both sides would then exchange real spies that both sides' intelligence communities would claim for their own. In this case, you have a tourist who isn't a spy.
All right, concerns of safety are growing after multiple incidents of violence happening on the Metro. DC News Now's Lex Juarez was on the scene discussing the safety measures and concerns.
In the past few months, we've reported on 2 incidents that have happened right here at Metro Center Station. One being the shooting that happened earlier this week, and another being a stabbing that happened inside on the platform. Now, if we look at data from Metro Transit Police, it does show that over this year, most violent crimes are up. Taking a look at the numbers, there have been 178 aggravated assaults this year from 162 at this time last year. Simple assault is up over 200 cases, and there have been 3 more weapons violations so far this year. Robbery is also up with 20 more cases than we had at this time last year, and rape is up with 4 cases so far this year, where we had 2 at this point last year. Metro riders say that it's not going to discourage them from taking the system, but that they will be more vigilant while riding.
If I am listening to music, I'll make it lower just so I'm aware of my surroundings, head on a swivel at all times. I try to sit in the carts that maybe have a few more people as opposed to the ones where I'm like alone.
Now, since September, we have reported on 4 shootings at Metro Rail stations and multiple stabbings on both Metro Rail and Metro Bus. Something that is important to note is that ridership is up and climbing, and that could be a factor as to why we're seeing some of these crimes increase. In Washington, I'm Lex Juarez, DC News Now.
Developing now, Montgomery County Police are searching for the gunman who shot and killed a gas station employee. The shooting happened yesterday afternoon at this Shell gas station on New Hampshire Avenue and Lockwood Drive in White Oak. Police say the employee was dead when they arrived. We spoke to a neighbor who said it's shocking to see the violence so close to home.
It's really gut-wrenching to hear, because I have to be honest, I was at this gas station earlier this morning. I go to this gas station almost every single other day. So you never know when violence is going to strike, and you hope it's not you, but you also hope no one else gets hurt.
Police have not released the victim's name. So far, a description of the suspect has not been released. And right now, parents are worried and frustrated after a student at Suitland High School was shot. The incident sparked anger with parents upset that violence in the community is making its way into schools. According to police, the 14-year-old who was shot is expected to recover. Another 14-year-old was detained at the high school shortly after. Parents in the community are fearing for the safety of their children and raise questions about what is being done to prevent this from happening again.
It's not safe. The first day of school, they found 2 weapons on 2 kids, and I don't understand. They have money to build this new whatever this is, but they have no funds to install metal detectors for these children's safety.
County Executive Angela also Brooks worries that there is a disconnect between parents and their children. She posted this on her Twitter yesterday, asking parents to sit their children down and speak with them about violence in schools. Virginia's Attorney General wants a full review of the moments leading up to a deadly shooting in UVA last month. Jason Mieres has selected the law firm Quinn Emanuel to conduct the review. He says there are a lot of questions about what led to the tragedy. Police say former university football player Christopher Darnell Jones Jr. shot and killed 3 other players. It happened on November 13th when players returned to campus from a day trip to D.C. Jones is charged with multiple counts of second-degree murder. And 54-year-old superstar and singer Celine Dion making headlines yesterday after telling the world about an illness she is battling called stiff person syndrome. DC News Now's Corey James has more.
Talk to us about it and explain what stiff person syndrome is.
Absolutely. As Celine mentioned, that this is a rare neurological condition that at the core is an autoimmune disease. So the immune system gets revved up, gets angry for reasons that we don't know, and attacks the nervous system. And attacks the nervous system in a way where we see at the bedside, the clinical symptoms, intermittent spasms, rigidity, et cetera.
And I know you mentioned that it attacks the nervous system for reasons that doctors don't know at this point, but are there any early signs or symptoms that someone watching might be able to pick up on?
Yeah, it's tricky because early on, people may have intermittent symptoms that they go to their doctor for, and the doctor may not be aware that this condition exists. And when they do an exam, they're like, oh, everything looks good. You don't have anything. They do an MRI or whatever other testing, and they don't find anything specific. But over time, most people will end up developing signs on exam that could be consistent with stiff person syndrome, whether it's spasticity, this classic hallmark sign, musculoskeletal called hyperlordosis. But I will tell you that there's an expanding spectrum. We're thinking now this is a spectrum of disorders that can go outside the musculoskeletal system and include things like double vision, wobbly gait. So it can be tricky to diagnose.
All right, and we know that Celine said that she has a number of doctors working with her and her team to get her back hopefully healthy again. If you happen to become one of those doctors, Dr. Newsom, you have to let us know.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. All right, thank you.